You are in the middle of your PGY1. You don't know what sleep is anymore. Caffeine is an actual food group that you cannot survive without, and you really actually don't know what day of the week it is. And then on top of all of that, they want you to decide whether or not you're going to sign up for another year of this. I've been there. I've cried the tears, I've gotten the t-shirt, and now I'm helping you make that decision as well by giving you some things to consider on whether or not you want to do a PGY2 Pharmacy Residency. Here we go. So the first question is there a specialty that you're willing to do for the rest of your life? Because that's kind of what you're committing to here. There are 19 different specialty areas that are offered for a PGY2, which is great. That means there's a lot of different options and opportunities out there, but that doesn't mean that any of those are right for you, and if they're not, that's okay. Maybe you don't want to be a clinical pharmacy specialist in the emergency department or in the neonatal ICU. Maybe you want to be a hospital staff pharmacist. Maybe you want to be a clinical pharmacist that's decentralized and up on the floors, and you can get that with a PGY1. Don't discount your PGY1 pharmacy experience. And maybe a PGY2 really does help. Maybe you do want to be that clinical specialist in cardiology, and this is the way to get there, and that is great. Go for it. You also have to think about where do you want to end up physically, like your physical location, what city, what part of the country, that sort of thing. Because here's what you're going to find with a PGY1 versus PGY2. PGY1 opens a lot of doors. It allows you to work in the hospital setting all over the country. A PGY2 allows you into a specialty area. And in some cases, depending on how many types of jobs are in that area and how widespread they are, it may limit you geographically to where you can find positions for that type of specialty. So if you want to end up in a very specific place, it could actually be harder with a PGY2, at least to be in that specialty area that you're actually training for. Next up, you need to think, can I actually afford it? You're potentially signing up for moving again. You're signing up for PPS. You're signing up for another year with lower pay. You have application costs. You have interview costs. Meanwhile, your student loans are accruing interest and you have less money to put into your retirement accounts. You're potentially having to get licensed in another state, spend money on study materials for that. There are a lot of costs that go along with a PGY2 as well, especially if you're going to be moving to a different program. Crunch the numbers and figure out if this is something that you can handle where you are financially right now. If you're considering staying, you want to make sure that you really want to stay where you're at for another year. Is that a good decision for you? You want to make sure that you're not staying out of convenience, but because this program actually offers the most benefits to you. Speaking of staying around, I would love if you stayed around on this channel, so make sure that you hit that subscribe button for the rest of this pharmacy residency series. The next question you have to ask yourself is, are the programs that I'm most interested in even available? A lot of places do the early commit process now, which if you are not familiar with, means that the program will allow you to decide to stay way before you even get to mid-year. Some of them actually allow their pharmacy residents to make the decision after mid-year. And if this is the case, it may mean that the programs that you're most interested in don't even have spots available. And if that's the case, it may not be the right time for you to do a PGY2. Similar to considerations for PGY1, are there other people who are involved in this decision? I had a husband. I didn't want to do another year without him, which is one of the reasons why I chose not to do a PGY2. You also have to think of all the factors that are considered for them, getting a new job, having to move, another year with lower pay. All of those things need to be considered if there's others involved in this decision. You need to decide if it's good for your mental and physical health to do another year of residency. I was exhausted by the time I got through my PGY1, and I don't know if I could have handled a second year. Now that's going to depend on what type of program you are in, how rigorous it is, what kind of staffing model that you've been in. There are so many things, but this is something you also need to consider because your health is also very important. Speaking of which, if you're watching this, residency is very difficult on your body. You have several months to go. So I'm going to give you the mom talk and remind you that you need to exercise, that coffee is not an entire meal. You probably shouldn't eat in the cafeteria every single day. You need to go to your doctor occasionally. All of those things. This isn't really a question, but just a reminder that PGY1 sucks, but PGY2 usually sucks a little bit less. And what I mean by that is usually you have a little bit better staffing model. You're not staffing as many hours or as frequently, so you may be doing every other week in your PGY1, but you might do every third to every fourth weekend in your PGY2, giving you a lot more free time than you saw the year before. Additionally, you've kind of figured out what you're doing, so you're going to be able to do projects and presentations a lot quicker than you were able to do in your your first year. And if you were doing a very generalized PGY1 and you had an area that you're super passionate about, you may find that it's easier to do a PGY2 because you are able to really focus in on that passion area of yours. If you're still not sure with all of those things, it's okay to make this decision after going to mid-year. You can talk to some jobs, you can talk to some PGY2s, and then really get a feel for what might be best for you. I did this, and this is one of the reasons I decided not to do a PGY2, because I sat down for those PPS interviews for PGY2 and it just felt wrong and I didn't want to do it, and that's okay. And the last one is a reminder as well that you can change your mind, and that's fine. So for me, I originally wanted to go and be a NICU pharmacist, but after doing my first year of residency, I realized that I didn't really like any other areas of critical care pediatric pharmacy. While I still absolutely loved the NICU, I wasn't a fan of the pediatric ICU. ER was not my jam, and so I didn't really want to do another year focused in critical care with only liking the NICU. To me, that wasn't worth it. Additionally, my life goals and priorities changed. While I went into residency thinking I was going to do a second year, what I wanted out of life and what my goals were from a career standpoint totally shifted and changed, and that's okay too. You really just need to decide what is going to work best for you, and if you have to change your mind, that is okay. You can do it. Looking back, I don't regret my decision to not do a PGY2, and whatever decision you make, you want to make sure it's not a decision you're going to regret. So I'm here to tell you today, no matter what decision you make, whether or not you're going to do that PGY2 or whether you're not, if no one else supports you, I want to let you know that I do. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If it is, give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!